Come on.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the only podcast produced by three winners of IMSA's Spirit of the Race Award. You're tuned into the Check Engine podcast. We're streaming through Anchor.fm or anywhere else that streams good podcasts that you want to hear. My name is Nick. With me, once again, the same two co-hosts that I've had since the beginning of this journey.
Like he's getting bored of us.
Yeah.
How rude.
I'm just trying to think of more creative ways to introduce you, and it's not working. Andrew's on my right. What's up, Andrew?
Oh, man. It's been just an up and down week, but everything in my life turned out good. My dad's surgery went perfectly. He's recovering well. Should be home tomorrow. All the stressful parts are mostly over for me, and it's just good stuff ahead. So I'm happy about that.
That's good.
Good.
Very good to hear. I've got one more day of stress, or actually a few more days of stress here. But, I'm not going to get into that now because that's not what this podcast is about. Tristan, how you doing?
Great.
Yeah?
Yes.
You're getting closer to pro status here.
That's worrying me a little bit.
Yeah, we got a setup. We got stuff going on.
It's clean.
Ooh.
We've got video now.
We've got decorations.
Mm-hmm. Look at that.
Look at that. Look at that Viper. Look at it.
Yeah, so now all that remains is the mad YouTube subscriber base, and
also our
good to
content to improve.
Well,
that
I wouldn't
too.
wait on that.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, that's it. Just a little improvement there.
Just good content? Well, damn it. We're close to pro, but we're not. But yet you all listen anyway. And we appreciate that. But we don't want you just to listen, guys. We want you to reach out to us. We want you to engage with us. What do you like? What do you not like? What do you think we should try? You start by going to checkenginepodcast.com because there we have an email address that we can check, and it's up and running now.
Yes.
It is
again dangerously close to pro.
Inbox at checkenginepodcast.com is that email if you want to reach out to us, among other places to get a hold of us. But that website's a good place to start because it gives you links to blogs, links to past episode, links to social media. I said past episode singular there. We did more than one.
Yeah, we've done lots now. 51-ish.
This must be 50.
This is 52. Yeah.
2 or 3.
1 year's worth.
Yeah.
Now.
1 full year's worth if you listen to one a week.
Yep.
Unless you're Joe Roy and you just burn through them all in like 3 days.
That's right. Shout out to him.
So, guys, what are we talking about tonight?
Ooh, boy. Tonight we got a listener request from the OG William. And he asked us to talk about land yachts. So I had trouble approaching this because I'm of several minds on the topic, not only about the old cars, which are, kind of notoriously crappy in a lot of ways, but also because the question for me has always been, what really happened with the land yacht? And I think we're going to explore that tonight in hopefully a different angle is what I'm aiming for on that topic.
I hope it's a different angle.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
But before that, pace laps.
I got one here that I had mentioned previously and then forgot about for months, but just came back around.
Oh, it's back. Good.
Yeah. So, what was that? When did we pick our most iconic car? February?
March. It was March Madness.
No, it was March Madness. Yeah.
Nope, can't say that. It was March Mayhem.
It was March Madness. So I mentioned that Autocar was running a similar thing.
Yes.
And I now have the results of their polling.
Okay.
Is this of all time?
Yes.
Most iconic car of all
like
time.
ours.
Exactly like ours.
But okay, so
They
Except that
started
theirs
theirs
is
first,
probably wrong.
but it's whatever. Ours is better. So here we go. They had a I probably can't say Final Four. last quadrant. Okay, so here are their final 4 cars.
Yikes.
Porsche 911,
Okay, that was close for us.
Jaguar XJ,
Really?
Land Rover Defender,
No.
and the winner, Lotus Elise.
Nope.
So remember where this publication comes from.
What part of London are they based in?
Yeah.
The middle part. Zone 1.
Most iconic British cars, because that's what they talk about.
Except for the 911.
And the
I know,
911
but I'm
snuck in
saying-
there somehow.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. It wasn't about the most iconic British car, but
Their audience is...
And there was just a reader poll.
Yes.
That's why.
Yeah,
Yep.
reader
Familiarity. Mm-hmm. Yep.
the Reader's Champion. Sorry. Yeah, Reader's Champion.
Lotus Elise.
I just don't see how you get there from any angle.
Put Lotus Elise in our bracket anywhere.
It wouldn't have made it into our bracket. It
Well, that's
didn't
what I'm
make it
saying.
into our bracket.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, what was the
Trial by
lowest...
combat, Beetle versus the Elise. I still think the Beetle would win.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah. In
I'm not saying the Elise
icon
is,
status.
icons. I'm not saying
Yeah.
the Elise is a bad car, but what was our lowest one on our bracket? Was it the minivan, right? That was
Yeah,
our 16 seed.
The Chrysler.
Yeah. Town and country.
Yep.
So take out the town and country, put the Elise in there. Does it make it out of the first round? I would have to look at the matchup, but I
No.
don't think it would.
No, it wouldn't.
Wait, I have
really
my
don't
notes
think it
here. I
would.
could find it.
Anyways, I
Talk
thought,
amongst yourselves.
Well, I thought that was a huge surprise, especially because
Here we go.
I didn't know what their final 4 were, but there were most of the cars that they had on their list were somewhere on our bracket because our bracket was much smaller, and just none of them made it through.
Right. So it definitely would have made it out of the first round because it would have gone up against the Mustang.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
no
done.
chance, no chance.
So, yeah, nope. List is wrong. I've got one that I've been sitting on for a little bit. I'd like to bring up, guys. Do you know that in 2020 there will be a completely new original automotive brand sold in the United States?
Okay, is it going to be? What's that company that's pretending they're making an electric truck that Ford gave all that money to? Rivian.
Yeah.
Is it them? Is
Nope.
it Rivian? Okay.
Nope. This is a company. It's from China. I probably should have looked up the pronunciation of this before I went on air. I will spell it out first. It is Zotye.
I'm gonna say Zotier,
Zotia.
like Gautier.
Sure.
Tristan,
That's
you
the
didn't
car
have to.
you used to know.
You didn't have to cut me off.
He did, not me.
So the brand is Zotier. It's coming in back half of 2020 with a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder compact SUV called the T600.
Oh, so wait, they're not.
They're bringing Terminators over.
When you said Chinese company, I just automatically assumed they were going to start with an electric car.
Yeah.
No. No.
my
This
friend.
is gasoline powered.
All right.
So the T600 is coming at the end of next year, and they're either by the end of 2021 or early 2022 bringing a T. I think they called it the T800, which is a little larger.
So they definitely are bringing Terminators at that point.
Definitely. Wait, so are they partnering with a U.S. brand?
There's a U.S. holding company that is bringing them in, and the name or the abbreviation of their name is like somewhere between a hearty laugh and a gotcha moment. It is HA Automotive Holdings, HAAH. They're based out of California.
So, I mean, like in terms of dealership network or.
You can apply for a dealership if you want. If you
I
go to the
don't want.
website,
Shall we?
No.
should we have a
Okay, we can do
check
this.
engine podcast dealership?
We can do this if we sell Zotier and Alfa Romeo and what other brands only make one car? Mini.
They make a lot of variations on
It's
a
a
car.
lot of the same car.
Yeah.
Alfa Romeo makes more than one car.
No, well, selling here, they now will sell too. Oh wait, no.
No.
Okay, C4.
The 4C, the 500, the Giulietta.
That's a Fiat.
The
That doesn't
Giulia?
count. Can't count the 500.
Oh, Fiat, yeah. Never mind.
And the Giulia and the Stelvio.
Yes.
So 3.
4 cheese.
What?
That's the same. That's the same. That's just a trim.
That's what I mean. That's, I was referring to it as that.
The 4 cheese, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, what other brands could we have?
With just one car?
Yeah, one. Let's say fewer than 3.
Aim high. Rimac.
Ooh, I actually have a story about Rimac.
I know you do. I know.
Yeah.
I know what story it is.
Yeah.
Is that the transition?
That was the segue I was giving him right there.
Tristan. So yeah, look for Zotier on the streets by the end of next year.
I suppose really we all have a story about Rimac. Say Rimac.
Rimac. Yeah.
Hyundai and Kia have chosen their electric company with which they will ride or die. And it is Rimac, which is cool because I read that headline and immediately started photocapping the article thinking that it said Rivian. And it took me so long to figure out why they were talking about the company, the electric company, knowing about making performance cars. And I was like, but they don't even make cars. But no, Rimac is a Scandinavian.
They're Czech.
No, Rimac is Croatian.
Oh, I thought they were Scandinavian.
Closer. I was closer.
No, was it Croatian or Serbian? They're close. It's one of those two. I know he's the guy's like my cousin or something like that.
How many itches are in his name?
Anyways.
Well, his last name is Rimac. Mate Rimac.
Yeah.
Croatian inventor. Yep.
My fault. Famously, they made the car that almost killed Richard Hammond, or the car
in which Richard Hammond almost killed himself.
Yes, that's the one.
Arguably.
Fascinatingly enough, though, Hyundai and Kia's investment is split. The numbers don't really matter. They're investing $90 million in Rimac to make reading here, the N brand's mid-engine sports car. Super exciting.
Yep.
Yes.
Super duper exciting, especially with what I just talked about last podcast with how I can't buy the car I want. And a fuel cell electric vehicle.
Which is what I talked about last episode.
Exactly. Shit is happening.
Somebody gets it. Finally, somebody gets
There's
it.
actually another thing that I want to talk about with Hyundai that they announced just a day or two ago. They're getting rid of the manual in the Elantra line, the full Elantra line.
Okay.
Which, kind of whatever. But they're also getting rid of it in the Sport, the Elantra Sport, which is, the 201 horsepower, blah, blah, blah. I'm wondering if that could be a way to get a hybrid powertrain in that car. Because basically, the lineage there would be if they're getting rid of it, I think it's safe to expect that Hyundai might introduce a hybrid into the Elantra line maybe in like a year or 2 years. So my thinking is if they develop that platform with hybrid then in the Elantra, because they have the Ioniq, but that could move more towards pure electric. You know what I mean? And then you're a step away essentially from having the hybrid and the performance engine in the same car at the same time.
And you're the marketing genius, but I'm going to run this one past you. I just had a flash.
Don't call me a genius after what I told you about what happened today.
But hey, that's not your fault. I think they should call those cars the Hybrid N.
I'm sure that
as the line, like the people, they're going to try to like make some fancy name like Energy or whatever, like
Energy,
or something like that. But like, think about it, like the Hyundai Elantra Hybrid N, and like
it doesn't roll off the tongue exactly, But what
I think
are
it
they going to
reads
do?
nicer though. That's like on the badge, because like you could add it in front of like the N badge. And I think that would play nicely.
I would say it just depends on what, as a company, they decide they want to put more emphasis on. Is it the fact that it's a hybrid, or is it the fact that it's the N line? Because whatever you want the biggest emphasis on, that's what's going to come first.
I think if they're putting the hybrid in the whole line, then...
Well, what's the nomenclature? They put the N at the end of everything right now, right? Veloster
Correct.
N, i30N. Right. So yeah, then the hybrid N would probably, just to follow along that same line, would be the way they would go.
So...
I would imagine that they'll probably just call it all part of the N line. Although, that could be totally wrong. As long as they don't call it like the EN or the NE.
NE.
The knee. Like stupid Honda. They had that fantastic city car concept.
Yes.
Just a small little city car, looked completely brilliant. Retro styling, but everything on the inside was super modern. And they just decided to call it the Honda E. You idiots. They made a Hyundai.
Hyundai.
Anyways, that doesn't have anything to do with anything other than the fact that naming should be better.
Yeah, get your shit together, people who name shit.
Wow. A lot of words there.
That's right. It's been a day. Leave me alone.
Shall we, unless you have anything else, I think that's an interesting pivot towards our main topic, but
Just real quick, I just want to let this out there, folks. Check Engine Podcast will be present at the Indy 500 again. When this not just in terms of a shirt this time, like me wearing a shirt while I'm walking around, but our friends at Styled Aesthetic are going to be there. The Styled Garage will be in the Midway, and we'll end of May in Indianapolis. If it's not raining, it's going to be broiler hot. So you're gonna need to keep your drinks cool. So stop by the Styled Garage. You get a Check Engine Podcast can coolie.
That's right.
and boy, do we have something for you.
I will be wearing the CEP shirt, so you know who I am. If you recognize me, stop and say hello. If I get one person to actually do that, who like doesn't know me, I would probably drop dead right there.
That'd be something.
We need him. Don't tell him you know him.
But I'm super fired up. Indianapolis is better. It's the best weekend of the year for me. It's better than Christmas. It's better than Thanksgiving. It's the best weekend of the year.
What about birthday?
Is it better than Black Friday?
Oh, we just talked about birthdays. Don't really make a big deal.
That's
about it anymore.
that's fair. That's fair.
So yeah, Indianapolis 500. Well, when this is released, is coming up this weekend. So everybody tune in to NBC or go get your tickets and come hang out with us. Oh, and also good luck to our friend from Styled Aesthetics, Steve Welk, who is spotting for Charlie Kimball.
Nice.
Hopefully they get a good run.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right, now let's get into this. Land Yachts.
Big old boat cars.
Big old boat cars.
So to me, that term always meant land yachts. Always meant, well, I mean, the Cadillac Fleetwood, Brougham, and
Yes.
Lincoln Continental, just like those cars that were
Especially
huge.
the Continental.
The Chrysler New Yorker, the
Imperial.
Imperial, Lincoln Mark V, the Olds Tornado.
Definitely, but big cars that were shit.
Right.
They were a bit shit. Do you disagree?
Well, I think it's all.
I haven't had a whole lot of experience in them, but
It's all time frame. I mean, like we've seen how even cars from the '80s don't match up to like hot hatches today.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm talking about. Let me give you some number examples if you want to argue time frame, which is fine, whatever, gas prices, blah, blah, blah. But what I did do is look up the specs of several land yachts from 1975. Starting with the Lincoln Continental Mark IV. 7.5 liter V8. Pumping out a churning, thumping 223 horsepower and 366 foot-pounds. The car was 19 feet long, and I just recorded this for a couple of them because I think it's absolutely hilarious. The turning circle was 43.3 feet.
Yeah.
The longer than the width of a parking lot of a parking lot lane
Yes.
to turn this horrible car around.
yeah.
What else we got here? The Fleetwood 60 Cadillac.
Bear in
Fleetwood.
mind, this is 1975.
75. Yep.
2 years after the oil crisis. Mm-hmm. So you're looking at power numbers that are down specifically because of that. So,
No, not necessarily. Because if you look at generation earlier, they're not higher. It's not like the thing was making 400 horsepower. And
right, I
they-
know, but
No,
they stopped pushing it.
There was a lot of displacement without a lot of output
Right.
all the way through pre or post oil crisis.
Fleetwood 60, 8.1 liters, 190 horsepower. That one, race car ready. 19.4 feet long, 49.2 feet to turn around. What one? What else we got here? I mean, all of these things are just insane. Lincoln Continental, 7.5 liter, 51.5 feet to turn that thing around. And it's only 19.4 feet long. I mean,
Turning radius of an entire state.
it's
question,
just
though, is-
absurd.
The question, though, is they were designing to a purpose. People wanted to buy these.
Well, no, they didn't. But, I mean, they didn't. If you want to talk about the gas crisis affecting the power, then we have to talk about the gas crisis affecting the fact that nobody wanted to buy these
But they
because
did.
of the same crisis.
But that's why they had to try to make them more efficient and still turn in a 50-foot circle.
Right, but you get what I'm saying. You can't have it. You can't argue it one way and then not the other. So all I think
it's all arguing one way.
All I'm saying is that I see these cars as objectively trash, and history does as well. I mean, even the equivalent Land Yachts from Mercedes, like the Grosser, was a better car.
Yeah, but they always have been. Luxury car versus a big three. Like, maybe you can say the Cadillac, but like, you're looking at things that, from experience, I can tell you that real estate agents buy. Like, my entire family down my dad's side drove New Yorkers, Imperials, Pontiacs. Like, they were kind of all over the map, but half of those cars you listed were owned by them at one time or another.
Yeah.
And it's not like they were buying the Mercedes. That was an entirely different scope of vehicle. You're comparing, apples and very nice oranges. It's not only different, it's an entirely different...
Why can't fruit be compared? Honestly, why can't fruit be compared?
It can be compared, but you can't say that they relate to each other at all. You can say I like
fruits.
You can say like I like bananas more, or that oranges are a better fruit because they provide vitamin C or whatever. You can say whatever you want, but they are a different market, different demographic. Europe never had the oil prices that we had.
Well, their gas has always been more.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. Like, you're never going to see that type of thing here. You're never going to see an engine that's 8 liters putting out 100-some horsepower because they didn't have that luxury there. They had to design more efficient engines. And here they wanted them to like rev at 200 RPM on the freeway and be totally silent and be huge. And that was the whole point. The height of like, hey, look at that great car he bought was the fact that it was big. We think that cars are good because of horsepower, performance, build quality, things like that. But
all the things that make a car good.
Yeah. No, but what I'm saying is that's not good if that's not what you want.
But there is nothing else.
If
you listed build quality, power,
comfort, size, amenities.
Size doesn't necessarily have to do with comfort.
These don't even have that many amenities.
But it's its own thing.
These don't even have that many amenities when you compare them with the European relatives.
Right, but you're looking at European relatives are luxury. Compare that to a 1970s Ford from England, like in Anglia or whatever the heck they were driving at that point.
They were driving Ford Cortinas. They were driving small cars.
Yes, because you can't drive, any one of those cars you listed through a city center in England.
Have you ever heard of Rolls-Royce or Jaguar or...
Not driving into city centers, remember? Rich people out in the country? That's who those are for.
I mean, okay.
I think your entire premise is wrong, and I will continue to say that because, just for example, like let's say that's a great car, right?
The Viper?
You like the Viper.
No, I would say I like the Viper. That doesn't make it a great car.
So, okay, fine. Pick a great car. Pick a great car that you think is the best quality car.
The Lincoln Continental Mark IV.
But I can tell you that no matter what you choose, someone out there with a different set of desires and a different set of things that they value will think different things are good.
Wow. No. We're not having the opinion talk now. So I will circle all the way back to the first point. I think Land Yachts are all a bit shit.
And that's fine.
And you led that with I think. Not.
Yeah, so we're not going to do opinion, he says, as he does opinion.
Fine. Land Yachts are all a bit shit. Have it your way.
So all I'm saying, though, is that you have to look at them from where they came from.
Even through the lens of where they came from, they're a bit shit. That's why.
So what else were they making what else were those companies making at the same time that was better?
That's when they started to make the small American car actually in America.
Which
you know what I mean? Or for America, rather.
Like what?
Like, I don't know. I didn't look this up because I wasn't anticipating this. I didn't expect pushback on land yachts are shit because that's kind of objective fact.
But it's not. it's an opinion.
All right. No one's tuning in to hear this argument, by the way, just so you know.
Well, no one's tuning in to simply have you say they're terrible, game over. They're going to have us a discussion about them, and I think we're discussing them. So.
Right. Great. So where do we go from here then?
I think we need to discuss what they were. We gave some statistics about them.
Why don't you tell me what they were?
They were, for example, the vehicle that you could fit 5 people in, and with your family car that you also just drove to work with yourself, because this is the 50s, 60s, 70s, that whole 30-year time frame before they started building the smaller cars was kind of the heyday of the Land Yacht. That whole time period was, as we know, post-war wretched excess. And there was no cause to be frugal. There was no cause to build compact cities because, hey, now that we've got all this industry, everybody can own a car. They can all commute. We can build 4-lane highways that the cars can take up 1,000 feet each, and that's totally fine. And everybody can have 2 cars in their giant suburban house because there's enough space for that. It was the economic boom post-World War II, all the way until the 70s and 80s. And then that's what these cars symbolize. You can get in that car and you can drive yourself to work in this house, more or less, and then...
You described all of society and haven't described the car yet.
And then what I'm saying is that's what they are. They are the thing in which you can do this. There are various iterations, 2-door, 4-door. They're almost all V8s, and they can do everything from take you to work to put 5 people in them and tow a trailer all the way to California and back.
I'm just wondering where the actual physical dimensions came from, like why that became desirable. Like, is it just because why not? Or was there like there's some sort of purpose? Did they think it needed to be that big and that heavy to tow? Did they need to think?
I think it was a lot of stuff. I think the biggest one is just comfort. I mean, I can tell you when you compare what I objectively believe is a good car, my car.
Sure.
If you don't put that emphasis on performance or economy, which they wouldn't have, especially not the economy part.
Yeah, not the economy part at all.
It is not, it is unequivocally better to kind of waft yourself into a giant land yacht with 5 people with room enough for the kids to bounce around in because they don't have seatbelts.
All right.
Than a small car that's harder to work with.
I think that's an interesting theory, and I also think it's completely wrong. Because if you look at... I live in a house from the 70s, and we know what that's like roughly. But if you look at houses built in that same time frame you're talking about, they didn't have 23-foot-long garages. You couldn't fit those cars in there. And I'll tell you what the people were driving in the time. The people who did exactly what you said, lived in the city, did all this stuff.
I'm talking about people who lived outside the city.
Lived outside the city.
That's what I was talking about, because you're commuting in. That's why you want to be in your palace and to drive to work.
But you think that those people, middle class, is it fair to say middle class people?
Yeah, middle class.
You think they were buying these land yachts instead of the cars that we know they were buying, which were Torinos and Mustangs and Capris and the Ford LTDs and the Mavericks and the Plymouth Dusters and the Gold Dusters. Those are the cars that they were buying in the middle class. I think you may have these cars' target audience messed up. You made the argument that land yachts in America were for the middle class versus something like the Grocer, which was only for people who lived out in the country. What if that's not true?
It might not be true. All I'm working from is personal experience.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all I'm working from is the whole list of family friends and other white middle-class people from northern suburban Illinois, northern Chicago, who all of my dad's friends and parents' friends, parents, had, also his parents' friends, had these large cars. They would all go, like 15, 20, 30 people, after prom to the Illinois dunes in these large cars and have picnics in the trunks of their cars. Those were land yachts. Those were not small cars. And so these are all the same group of people that I'm talking about. Now, are there some people who maybe lived closer to Chicago who are dealing with, little narrow driveways and Model T garages? Yeah, definitely. And then they might be buying smaller cars, or people who didn't have even middle class money. And even then, at that point in America, they were still able to buy something like a Torino
Or a Pinto.
Yeah.
Started in 71.
Yeah.
Which I was surprised to learn.
But how popular were they?
Very. They just didn't last.
They blew up.
Yeah, no, they were extremely popular.
People bought a lot of them.
That's all those good small cars, the Pintos that blow up.
I'm just saying.
I think that there's...
You asked how popular they were.
You can genuinely say that when you compare it to what anybody in the world is able to build today, even China, the cars that were being manufactured all over the world, even in Germany and other places where, engineering is king, they're all bad when you look at them today.
Okay. All right, man. Yeah. That's right. Moving on from the environment that enabled these cars to exist, my question is, or was, where did they go from the 70s until just the other day when I was at the Hyundai dealership walking past a G90 and realizing that it took a really fucking long time
It's
to
still
walk past
going.
the G90.
Yeah. Yep.
You haven't cleared it yet. Don't look over your right shoulder.
It's still there.
I was walking from the front of the dealership to the bathroom, and they had one parked right there. It just kept going.
I remember we were at the auto show
It's a weird
at
experience.
the G90, and you were on the other side of it, and I wanted to tell you something, and I had to run
look and it's
all
like,
the way around it. I'm not
too
going to
far.
shout over that. I had to run around it to tell him. Yeah, they're huge.
They are huge.
And then you have these other weird moments of it, and I think this is what the suggestion came from. You have this weird 80s and 90s kind of weird of land yachts, and they were gone again with the Buick Roadmaster.
Yeah.
And even longer, one of the ones that
Would you put the Crown Vic in that category, or is
yes,
it not long enough?
Because that's what
Close.
That's what Mr. William is mentioning. That's his thing is he likes restoring and working on these old police interceptor Crown Vics.
Yes.
And that's what he calls the big land yacht for him.
Right.
Which again,
Comparatively speaking, not so much.
things
but
that when you put it next to a 73 Chrysler, the Chrysler's going to laugh and then eat it.
Why do they give the car length in inches? No one...
I don't want to have to divide by 12.
Exactly.
I just looked up wheelbase. I didn't look up overall length, but
Oh no, because the wheelbase doesn't tell the whole story.
Yeah, that doesn't even count.
Because they're really close to compared to how far wheels are out on the corners nowadays. They're way far in,
Yeah.
and you've got a trunk you can even have a picnic in.
Wheelbase doesn't help you, man.
yeah. But still, some of these were 133-inch wheelbase.
That's longer than a Subaru Ascent.
That's longer than entire cars.
But what I will say is a Crown Vic is only 17 feet long.
Right.
A pedestrian
Yeah.
17 feet long.
That's why I said it's
Poultry.
close. What's the cutoff though?
I don't know. See, that was one of my questions when I was looking
What
this
makes
up.
something a land yacht versus not? Where is the 15 feet?
No,
I don't
that's
necess-
way too short.
I don't even think it's size. Necessarily, just length.
Then what is it?
What if?
Can you wear an ascot in it?
Postulating. What if it's simply how it behaves? How it's squishy and it drives like this.
Like you're driving a pillow?
And, yeah, or like a boat over some waves. I don't know what I'm doing here. But, it has super mushy yet comfortable suspension, a absolutely anti-high strung motor, tons of sound deadening material. It's meant to be driving a pillow.
Outside of the motor part, though, you're just describing a lot of luxury cars.
Yeah, you're just describing luxury cars. Although I will say this, because where we started was me saying land yachts are a bit shit, and getting crucified for that. But what you have to remember is that essentially the same car, we can do this test right now. They had Rolls-Royce Phantoms back then, and they have Rolls-Royce Phantoms now. And the size actually, they haven't really shrunk all that much.
What's the size?
This one's in meters. Super helpful.
It would be to other people, not us.
The Rolls-Royce Phantom 8 is 235 inches or 5.98 meters long. And if my math is correct, that's in the area of almost 20 feet.
Very nearly
20 feet.
19.98 feet or something. It's 20 feet.
We'll round up. It's 20 feet.
It's 20 feet.
Once you include the, Winged Victory or whatever's on the front of it.
Yeah, exactly. It's 20 feet. And the Phantom, which would have been what, like the Phantom 4 or 3, would have been around the same length, if certainly not the same quality. But the difference is the Phantom 8 makes 664 horsepower.
It does.
No. Sorry, I got
it.
It makes 560 horsepower, 664 foot-pounds.
How much power reserve do you have left? A silly meter. I love that thing, though. It's silly, but I love it.
Power reserve?
Yeah. So in Rolls-Royce, they have like most of our cars, they tell you that your gas mileage is tanking when you hammer it.
Oh, God.
But
Tell me it's not.
On the Rolls-Royce, when you're idling, it sits there at 100. And when you put your foot down, depending on how hard you're putting your foot down, it tells you how much more power you have available on tap as you push down.
So it's like, what is that? I don't even know what to compare that to.
It can only be described as it's like how much power is left available. It's the power reserve.
Why?
I wonder what it would take to get that thing to zero.
Floor it.
You have no power.
Floor it.
Yeah, you floor it. That's what happens.
Yeah.
You floor it, and it's as soon as you hit the peak of the power curves, the power reserve meter's at
Goes
zero.
to zero.
Yeah.
Just for fun, let me look up someone else say something. I'll look up a little more information on like the Phantom 4 or whatever it would have been.
I mean, I think the Phantom or the Rolls would be similar because they've never really. Well, I mean, now they're starting to make Wraiths and other things like that, but just expanding their product line. But I mean, that's Rolls and Bentley, like companies like that. That's really all Maybach. That's really all they've ever been.
Right, and mind you, not a lot has changed other than now they're owned by a bunch of Germans.
Indeed.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a change in ownership, if not necessarily a change in target audience. But
the Phantom 6. The Phantom 6 ran from 1968 to 1991.
Holy balls.
yeah, they don't change things all that often.
Damn, son.
Man, that thing looks old for 1991. That thing rolling around as a new model in 91.
Can you even imagine? All right, so that is a 6.75 liter V8. Oh, God, this would be... You want to know about the construction?
No, it was some man.
It was Jeff.
But Geoff.
Absolutely no information on power. What'd I say? Rolls-Royce
6.
So, I think the Rolls-Royce and Bentleys, and when you go back, because Mercedes brought the name back when they made the Maybach, because that was originally kind of Germany's Rolls-Royce. It was its own thing.
Looking this up here, it says it has 20 horsepower.
20.
Ooh, I don't...
Maybe they're just measuring the little springs in the doors that shoot the umbrellas out.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
But I think when you look at those, that I think is what fits the word definition of land yacht the best. It's literally like needs a crew of 15 and you can be served lunch in the salon if you prefer.
I can't find it. Doesn't matter.
That's the land yacht.
In
the strict,
essence or in name?
in all factuality. When you talk about like things that only really rich people can buy, because people who are buying yachts are not buying. That's not just a boat. That's right. That's an edifice.
It's a boat with a car on it.
Yes,
and a helicopter,
and a helicopter.
Possibly
of jet skis and
a land yacht on your sea yacht.
The pool on the boat is when it gets wild.
Yeah. So
That's when you know you made it.
that's kind of the top end of what we're looking at.
There's
when we
not enough
define-
water that the boat rests on. I need more water in my boat.
But would you really argue that the land yachts of America weren't specifically designed to play act as all of the superior bigger cars from Europe?
Oh, definitely. That's
You said they couldn't be compared. You said they couldn't be compared.
but that's what I'm saying is that because they're not the same.
Bah.
They're wearing a costume. That's all it is.
So if the
window
Phantom
dressing.
is the true
It's almost
land
like
yacht.
like more recently when Chrysler came out with the 300C and everyone was like, "Oh, that looks just like a Phantom."
And
Until
it-
the
by
Phantom
way,
rolled up.
it didn't.
Look a lot like Bentleys, though.
Yeah, I just don't understand why people were saying. Ah, that's crazy.
Like it's kind of the same thing though. It's like a poor man's
Without
Rolls or a poor man's Bentley.
you're selling to hopefully people you hope are not going to think very hard, and they're going to look at it and go, and you're going to be like, wow,
You're banking on lowest common denominator here.
You push your hand on the fender and it goes, and you start it up and it doesn't roar, it purrs, and it's purring because it's only making
3
under
horsepower.
200 horsepower, right? And I think they're doing all of these things to achieve something that it's like NutraSweet. It tastes like sugar but has no value.
Outside of like you said, maybe Cadillac or something like that, which made decent luxury cars
Yeah.
back in the day for the time. Like, yeah, that's all it was. They were trying to give this feeling of luxury and the you've made it for people who couldn't necessarily afford it in real life.
It's the same concept as people who are buying like a top trim level Accord with leather seats. And I say this because I actually heard this the other day, and I bought it because it looks a lot like a Mercedes.
What? No, it
An
doesn't.
Accord?
I don't agree with this. I'm not saying this. But
You
this
had
is-
to have interrupted. You had to burst in the conversation and say, "No, it doesn't."
Oh, I did. And I don't know if they returned it or what, but like I felt bad because they looked a little crestfallen. But that's the type of consumer decision that they're banking on. And now we as car people can say, these are not I did it. These are not related. You're being fooled. But they also cannot therefore be compared, even though they want you.
Sorry,
you're falling into their trap. You're
What
comparing them.
Mercedes does an Accord look like?
He's hung up on that now.
I don't know. I told them I didn't know.
That's kind of like you objectively talking about the Subarus. You know, like, no, it's not. It's a fact. Like, they're not that much. They're not. The Ascent and the Outback aren't that far apart in size. Like,
they're not.
yeah, exactly.
Right, but they're relying on people thinking
But they're
they
relying
are.
on people thinking that.
And
that was the purpose.
and it goes all the way into the selling SUVs as the bigger option.
Yes.
Yep.
When they're not.
Yeah, a hatchback will carry more than a weird-looking crossover with a slopey roof.
Yeah, absolutely. The cargo room in my wife's Kona is a half of what it was in her old Elantra. Anyways, all right. All that car shit is fine. But what we need to come down with a decision on,
We're going to do boats next.
maybe. Yachtland. Anyways, what we need to come with a decision on. When the Land Yacht went away, truly, and there was a little resurgence kind of in the 80s, but in the 90s when the SUV came into play, they immediately went large, and generally larger than a Land Yacht would have been. I mean, I'm thinking Excursion,
Yeah,
was
H2.
which was a whole semi-truck.
Yeah.
Excursion.
Actual Hummers.
Yes.
Like H1s.
Can those ever be Land Yachts?
I think, based on what I said before, yes, if given the right trims.
But what about
So you're going the comfort feel, the quiet,
Yeah.
the kind of loafy.
what about
Like
like
ride? Yeah, ride
cargo vans with seats?
If they match all those requirements, I would say yes. I had a friend of mine
I don't think they're ever going to match those requirements, though. It's
Well,
a cargo
no,
van.
no,
It's a
no.
cargo van with seats.
I had a man in high school
You had a man in high school.
who his dad like totally gutted their conversion van and like had custom upholstered seats, put air suspension in it, put the little TV in there, put a refrigerator back there for the kids, like, had all the backlights on the gauges redone, like put wood paneling in.
Wow.
Now this was all handmade, mind you, but when you look at what that was very near. So I think it's not
Okay, wait.
I don't think it's necessarily possible. I don't think it's necessarily impossible, but I would have to see one that's been done that way. But I can tell you someone has made like a transit limousine or something.
Not even that. I think you're wildly overestimating the luxury factor in an American land yacht from the 70s. A regular conversion van with velour seats, which all of those cars
They did all have.
and TVs has to match it. It has to
Already?
match it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a regular one.
As long
right?
as it's comfortable. Like
I
the
mean, they were-
suspension pieces are the biggest one there.
I mean, they were mostly pretty comfortable, right? I mean,
Even my grandparents' Buick Park Avenue land yacht, velour seats, like that weird Magna Ride suspension, which is what the GM had before they had the cool thing that the Corvette had. It was kind of pre that.
Yep.
And like the my favorite feature name was for the automatic headlights. Twilight Sentinel.
it had automatic headlights.
Twilight what?
Wow.
Twilight Sentinel.
Did it have like a little icon of a man?
No, I hoped it was.
In
I was
armor?
always looking for an owl.
An owl.
I didn't have one.
I pictured just like a knight.
But like
With a K.
But that, like, we'd all pile in, like 6 of us, into this thing, and it was a little cramped for 6 people in a car from the 90s. Which, when you think about what the 90s usually entailed, it was all these like compact escorts, and even like the Tauruses of the time were like pretty small. This Buick was like riding on a cloud with enough space to like build your own house inside if you're alone. Like you'd put you couldn't put something in the back seat. You had to throw it because you couldn't just like reach behind you and set it on the seat. It was so far back there you had to like.
He's got little arms.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you've got stubby arms,
But
so
Normal humans could reach the back.
No.
I could
They
probably
couldn't.
reach the back seat.
Not without actually like lifting up out of your seat and turning around. If you're driving, you wouldn't be able to.
I don't try to do any of that while I'm driving anyway. What about a stoplight?
You ever put something in the back seat?
Yes,
At a
like
stoplight?
this.
Yeah, but so you didn't have the option to set it down. You had to throw it.
No, I just threw it because I wasn't going to turn around.
I wasn't going to turn around either. In my car, I can just set things in the back seat. 'Cause I don't-
How often do you do this?
often, because I don't want to break things.
What things are you using in the front seat that you need to put in
Crystal
the back?
champagne flutes? What are you holding that's breakable?
I have bags that have technology in my back seat. And if I throw
So don't put them
things-
in the front. Just put them in the back in the first place.
confused.
We're off topic. Move on.
Because I don't
all
understand.
all I'm trying to give you is a sense of space.
Do you regularly transport the heart of the ocean?
No one does. It's at the bottom of the ocean.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
Yeah.
It's been 84 years.
Wow.
Okay.
Deep cut. We're losing track of it here.
Definitely. One question that we ask. All right. So yes, other vehicles can be land yachts, not just cars.
Right.
Here's a.
But what about pickup trucks? Wait, before I have to stop you. What about pickup trucks?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
They're limited by. In my opinion, they're limited by their comfort.
But that's not what necessarily what they're. Well, now they make some pretty
Yeah,
good
modern.
That's
trucks
what I'm
like
saying.
Denali's and like.
or like the 2018 Ram 1500 like super extra luxe limited package.
Derby one.
Similarly that I actually wrote in. Like it has like the power running boards, super high bolstered leather, heated and cooled seats. Auto dimming mirrors, fantastic sound systems, entirely undone by the fact that it's a pickup truck, and if it's not full, it rattles around like a horse and buggy. So that's what I mean. Like, if you could make it waft, then I don't think there's anything inherent about the shape.
Sorry, I can tell you're really obsessed with the ride in this conversation.
I think you have to be.
But
No, I don't think a pickup truck will ever be can ever be a land yacht, just because its basic design, its basic purpose was work, cargo,
Right,
comfort.
that's what I
now,
mean.
like modern, yes, they're starting to do that kind of stuff because people are using them as dailies. But
Right.
like the idea of a pickup truck is not comfort and quiet. And
Plus, it seems like cheating. You know, because they come with 8-foot beds already. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, and if you make it a 6-foot bed, you can fit, a whole extra row of people.
or get both. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. If you get the full cab and the
8-foot bed.
that's cheating.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I don't think any of what we're saying contradicts each other. I'm focused on the ride, and I think because of its design, if it is going to be able to do that pickup truck stuff, it's never going to ride well enough to be my land yacht. In my mind,
you have very high standards for your land yacht.
it's a yacht, man.
You would star in that movie,
Land yacht.
My Land Yacht, and the cover is you hugging a broem.
I wouldn't turn that down.
I know.
No, I would. I don't like land yachts.
Yes, I
Look
was
at what
going
I
to say.
drive.
Here-
So I
here's-
say no trucks. We're set on that. Yes.
Yeah,
Here's
they can try.
my question. Do you see a situation, like we've got one-offs, like you mentioned the G90, but do you see a situation where a land yacht makes a resurgence?
They are. They're here.
Like G90?
G90, the Rolls Royces.
The Rolls Royces have always been there.
Same with S-Class Mercedes.
But just because it's always been there doesn't mean you can't count it.
No, you can count it, but
I'm
I don't
just saying,
think,
like, so the one-
because
so the
it
folks-
never went away. You can't count it still being there as a resurgence. It
Yes,
didn't
they're
come
there. I
back.
agree.
Yeah, but they're
if
more
we-
popular than ever now.
If you don't leave, how could I miss you? Like, it can't be back if it never left.
What's that Cadillac concept car that they released like
The
last?
16?
Is it the 16?
That was a while ago.
Yeah, that
Like
was forever ago.
That would
Yeah.
be like land yacht status, like
Yep.
if they ever bring it out. But like they don't make one now. I'm saying like what gets like all the manufacturers or most of them back on that train.
I think it's electric. I
You think?
at least I think you're going to see I don't think ever again to the level that we saw during the 50s, 60s, and 70s. But I think once,
No.
but I think actually, although there's more weight to haul around, those larger frames give you more space to cram in energy storage. When your entire floor is batteries and you have a 20-foot long car, it's a lot of batteries.
Yeah, but it's also
Yeah.
deeply impractical. All right, I have the record, or not the record. I have the list of the longest cars currently in production, and it's
Currently
actually
in production.
Yeah, the Phantom is the runaway winner.
Of course.
at that
It actually is a boat.
20-foot thing. So we have the Bentley Mulsanne,
That's a big one.
the Rolls-Royce Ghost, the from China, the Hongqi L5.
Yes.
Clarkson drove it once or twice.
Yes. Yep.
A genuine piece of crap.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's basically like if someone put out a 70s land yacht now.
Today.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then the G90 is next.
That's not far down the list.
Is that fourth or fifth?
Yeah. Yep. At 216.3 inches. So like 19 something, 19 and a
Yeah. Something like
19
that.
and a half, something there.
More or less.
Then the Mercedes Maybach S650.
Yep.
The Toyota Century, yes, makes an appearance here. 210 inches. I mean, really, the rest don't even bear consideration. Flying Spur, 208. Maserati Quattroporte, 207.
Which
That's a surprise to me to have that on there.
yeah,
is that
I
car
got
big?
Yeah,
I
that's
got
what I'm
passed by one of those, and I had the same experience you had at the dealer for the G90. Though actually, I was like, "Oh, look, a Maserati!" As I see the badge here,
Yeah.
and it's like
It just keeps
still
going.
passing me.
Looking again.
Oh, there it is. And like, there's like, it took forever to pass me, not because he was going slowly.
It just when you see the sports car status or persona that the Maserati puts out there, and like the stance of that car, you don't expect it to. You expect a shorter vehicle.
It doesn't
Like, so-
play that big
No,
in a
and-
lot either.
And then the
No, it
question,
doesn't at all.
then what that means is then that does bring the question to the table of, does size dictate the land yacht?
Yes.
So would you call that a land yacht?
No. It's really far down that list.
Yeah, but it's bigger than some of the other stuff we've discussed that might be.
Here's a question, something we haven't brought up yet, but we need to, and it does relate to what you were saying before. Will the Land Yacht ever come back? We know, because we're car people, that they are back in China.
Yes.
So my question is...
Big Buicks in China.
Well, Buicks and what I was going to look up actually is the A8L. How long is that car?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Well, I know Audi's doing it. I think a lot of manufacturers are doing L models now in China.
Yeah, and they were before. The A8L was also here.
So
but they're making an
what
even...
spurs the demand in China?
It's a status symbol. Specifically in China, space in the back seat is the status symbol.
Right.
Even if you drive the car.
Right. I could drive other people if I wanted to.
Well, no, I think it's actually, I could be driven in this car.
Or that too. I could hire someone to drive me around.
Oh, the A8, 203 inches. 203.
Not even tall enough to ride the ride, bro.
Not even close. I mean, should we set a lower limit? Because I feel like...
Is it perception, though? Like, we've seen so many small cars that we feel like something like that is so big.
That's definitely perception when you're on the road.
Yeah.
But even on the list of modern cars, and I'm going to loop back to SUVs in a second, I feel like anything under 210 kind of has to be cut out. Because if we accept SUVs as Land Yachts, and I think we have to, I mean, that's the wave. And also, if you want to talk about comfort,
Yeah.
they have the bouncy suspension you love, nice and cushy.
Not bouncy.
It can't be bouncy.
Because that's what pickup trucks are, bouncy.
They have a nice whatever suspension it
I
is
think
that
the
you
technical
like.
term is squishy.
Mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
In a Land Yacht.
I feel like 210 has to be your lower limit. You know, because it almost seems like anything else is kind of like posing. They could have made it longer.
Does it bear separating, like, things that are thought of as like limousines, not like stretch limos, but the more traditional, because that's what the A8 is. The A8L, it has like the reclining rear seats. You are meant to be driven in the back seat.
Yeah, but it feels like, I mean, you were making the argument that two similar things can't be compared because they came from different countries. Then I'll now make the point that two similar things can't be compared because we need to set a lower limit just on overall length. It's too many cars. Like, it seems like after 210, everyone else is an also ran. Yes,
Right, which is fine. That's what I'm saying. Like when we're discussing Land Yachts, does that Land Yacht does not then automatically encompass things that are limousines, but they can still be limousines, though.
Yes.
Right. That's all. That was just. They
can still be L trims.
It was a curiosity question.
That's what I think.
So
at least.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 210 seems like a decent number. I mean,
It's not coming from anywhere.
No, it's just a random shot in the dark. What do the listeners think? We're gonna ask them. What's your limit? What classifies a Land Yacht? What doesn't? William, get at us. Let us know what you think. This is your episode. This is your idea. So,
So anyways, what I wanted to talk about,
Anyway, yeah.
filling the void of all the cars that we have lost is there are so many SUVs.
Yes.
Fewer than you think, and fewer than there used to be, but there are still...
well, that's just because there's a reclassification to compact SUV or CUV or crossover.
Well, this is actually total length of anything that is a CUV or SUV. It's just that with the death of the Excursion, like that super giant SUV actually kind of fell by the wayside. So we have the Suburban, of course.
Always and forever.
the Armada's going to be up there.
And then all of the associated cars, the Escalade, the Yukon, the Denali.
Yep.
Then from Ford, we have the Expedition Max and the Lincoln Navigator.
That's right,
Hot off the market.
Navigator.
There's someone at work who drives one now in light blue. Don't get that car in light blue. Don't put that in a parking lot.
It blends in with the sky.
No, it doesn't blend in with anything.
Just a giant Easter egg.
Rolls-Royce Cullinan.
Yeah. How big is that compared to the Phantom?
The Cullinan is 210.
So it's shorter than the Phantom.
Shorter. 20 inches shorter.
Almost 2 feet.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That Rolls Royce is massive.
That's one of those that you buy to be driven, not to drive.
Or buy it and live in it.
It's longer than a Suburban.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's crazy. What else we got
They
here?
are truly shocking when you see them in person.
Yeah.
I gotta say.
Oh, sorry. So the Expedition Max and the Navigator L. Long. Also, the regular Expedition and Navigator make an appearance on
What's
this
the difference
list.
between those?
10 inches.
Wow, really?
Yeah, 10 inches.
Another ham in the back.
Yeah.
Here's the problem, though. That's actually the bottom of the list if we use the 210 cutoff again.
Yeah.
Even the Nissan Armada is 208 inches. Tiny. You can't even fit a family in that.
Where am I gonna put my baby?
That's right. Outside.
Anywhere. Glove box. Doesn't matter.
That's it.
So 210 might be a good cutoff because it does seem kind of exclusive.
See, that's the other thing. The exclusivity has to be important, right?
In a land yacht?
Because it's supposed to be the premium. It's supposed to be for people who picnic.
But
Yes.
but isn't it more about like it's trying to make you feel that exclusivity? Because we were just talking about that, like back in, when the big three came out with theirs, it was trying to make you feel like you're in a Mercedes or make you feel like you're riding one of those exclusive cars. So it's exclusive by actual number,
Right.
but someone who drives, say, an Armada could feel like really hot shit because they really like the car, it makes them feel comfortable. Like,
My boss drives one and he does.
exactly. Exactly. So I think that the exclusivity part in this case is a lot more, has to do with the perception of that.
I guess.
Again, the 300 versus Rolls Royce or Bentley argument.
But think of how you're in your Armada. You're feeling like hot shit, right? You pull up to
Wondering
the
why
light.
they named it after a fleet.
No, you're not wondering because you're the captain of that Armada.
Because I am in charge.
That's right. But you pull up to a light
Technically
next to
Admiral, but yeah.
you, rolls up a Lincoln Navigator. You're going to feel like a child, like a tiny baby.
Tiny, inadequate
You
baby.
will be shamed.
And then next to the man in the Lincoln Navigator, a man in a Rolls Royce Phantom.
Where are you?
What kind of world is this?
2 trains leave the station.
We've started a math word problem. If the Rolls Royce Phantom is 230 inches long,
That's right. But it does kind of feel like. See, I like the 210 cutoff also because it seems like, specifically in the case of the Armada / Infinity, whatever it is, who knows, no one.
both.
They almost come across to me, both kind of on the lot and since I've actually, ridden in it as
driven
try hard. They seem try hard to me.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, Ford's got this, Lincoln's got this thing, GMC makes a dozen of these things. Well, yeah, here's one. Here's another.
Me too.
Yeah, exactly. But
Me.
but not like in a fun way.
No, what I've always had, that's entirely, well, maybe not entirely unrelated, but I've always felt that those, because I've had the chance to drive both the Armada and the
I think it's
QXWYZ. I don't know.
Exclamation point.
Yeah.
$sign.
I have
Slash.
driven both of them, and they are the same.
Well,
Which is funny because the Infinity shouldn't be, and it is.
So you mean like there's no do they have any Magna Ride?
Oh no. You run over a bump in those, especially if it's only you, and the whole thing goes.
Is it based on the truck? The,
Yeah. Oh yes. The Titan.
The Titan.
Yes. Yeah. Yikes.
So what is the delineation then? So what is it? Just the badge makes it the Infinity?
Money.
You
Yeah.
see now. Here's the thing.
And probably like one of them doesn't have air conditioned seats or whatever. I don't know.
Well, what I'm thinking is when you go to the top trim of the Nissan Armada, you get leather. And then when you flip over to the base model of the Infinity, you get leather.
And then when you go to the top trim, you get slightly better leather.
You get, chicken leather. It takes more detail work, so it's better. leather. Vol leather.
Vol.
Hand stitched.
All the tiny pieces.
Do you imagine how many skins to deck out a Infinity Q whatever? Or
These would look great, though.
These the Infinity Q whatever. Made from 3,421 Vol skins.
God, how I wish that was the commercial. The Infinity Q, whatever.
Handcrafted from...
Actually, you know what? This is so off topic. I'm going to say it anyway. Actually, we should send all of these ideas to Nissan because Hiroto Saikawa yesterday came out and said that he fully expects Nissan to hit rock bottom this year. He actually said the
Now's
words,
our time.
rock bottom.
So they're desperate. They're looking for ideas.
Boys, we have work to do.
Let's get to Japan. Anyways, that's
Listeners,
so
send
far
us
off topic.
send us in your suggestions for Nissan. We'll compile them and send them in.
That's so far off topic.
Yes, it is.
All right. So I think we definitely decided that there was a poser class
Yes.
and a those are class. That's all right. I'll take my tips in cash.
Not good enough. You would have had to go with thoser.
I thought about that. Well, whatever.
Gotta commit.
Geniuses are never appreciated in their time.
Yeah, when will he be appreciated?
Yeah, when will he?
Anyways, so all right. Then what do all of those top tier cars, those true land yachts, modern ones, have in common? What are their similar features outside of just pure size, which is very important?
Right, so start with size, because duh.
And then obviously luxury has to be in the 2 spot. Right?
Yeah.
Because they're all heated, cooled, fully electric, leather, everything.
Tons of noise deadening material.
Very
Tons
quiet.
of widgets and gadgets. Usually some sort of stepped up sound system. It's
Ooh, super premium.
it's not just the standard sound system. Oh no.
Not even Bose. Harman Kardon.
Yeah.
Klipsch.
Mark Levinson.
Yes, all that.
What's the one that Accurate has now? Studio 3D or something? Is
They
there?
made that up.
Studio 76.
So we've got size,
Functional.
we've got luxury.
Is that it?
I think comfort.
Well,
It goes with
but
luxury.
isn't comfort?
It goes
it's
with
such a subjective thing, though.
But I also feel like
goes
it's
with
as
luxury.
red. Sorry.
It goes with luxury, but not necessarily. Because, think about, like a Aventador in the top trim. It's got, the pleated leather seats, or the quilted leather seats. It's got the high-end sound system, air conditioning. That's a luxurious interior in, the materials and the workmanship and everything, but it's not comfortable.
I mean, it
Maybe
it might be.
Maybe
It depends on who you ask. I feel like I'd be very comfortable in an Aventador.
But no, it could, because I think they have a Magna ride as well.
right, but I think when you're talking about there's ability to be in it, which is I think what a lot of these cars are doing, and then there's actual lap of luxury kind of deal.
So basically, you're just wondering if the Aventador is too quick to 60.
Well, or if it's too rough.
Because I guess my
Do we include any sort of performance figures in this? We can't, right? It's
Well,
a 0 to 60 or a...
I don't because
disagree. I think you have to include something.
Well, I'm asking. That wasn't a statement. I don't think I don't know. Can we?
Well, I think so, but not to move away from the comfort thing, because I
sorry.
feel like
Because I think that's part of the yacht definition.
sure, but I also feel like there was a time when you had to specify I want a big car and I want it comfortable, and I don't really feel like you have to specify that anymore.
I want a Suburban and I want it comfortable.
I think you get that. I'm confident you would get that in a base model Suburban.
Maybe.
I'm confident.
Does it have to be weighted down? I mean, does it have to be
Yeah,
fully
the-
laden?
But with all the seats and stuff, it already gives you more than the truck weight. It's going to feel comfortable. Plus, you got a wheel travel of this.
So, even though it might be inherent, would it have to be there? So, let's say, even though this is not the thing that exists, if you were to get a Suburban or any of the SUVs in particular that rode like an absolute buckboard, just bounced all over the place. Wheel control was poor. It was a lot of up and down bouncing, and it was not comfortable. Just flipping the equation around, coming at it from if this existed, would that exclude it from the list? It so happens that all the ones that we've chosen, that's a built-in feature. But if it were not a built-in feature, would it make it onto the list?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. I still think no.
So good. Me too. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So it just so happens that we have chosen ones that have something that like I value in a land yacht is to be comfortable. They all are.
Yes.
But if there was one that wasn't comfortable, it wouldn't be on this list.
Right.
Right. So that was more. It was a clarification. It was not like a challenge to anything. It was like we're talking about what makes a land yacht.
Yeah.
And if someone were to come up with, because I imagine
That honky isn't that comfortable?
maybe.
Well, it probably is. I think it weighs about 2.5
Yeah,
tons.
but what I imagine is that the Chinese could manage to make like a luxury SUV somehow be not comfortable because of cheap out on the suspension or whatever.
It's more likely. It's in all fairness, it's most likely to be cheap out on the interior.
Yeah.
True.
Because they can build the
Horrendous seats,
something like that.
maybe.
But then that's not luxurious. Like a cheap interior is not luxurious.
Maybe not cheap, but poorly designed. Like they've got all the trappings. It's got the the quilted leather, the suede dashboard, the wood inlays. But you get in the seat, and it's like, how does anybody sit in this? Like because someone just didn't think to design it, which happens sometimes.
Well, like in the early Elantras, the early Elantra GT, like in the 05, 06, they had the top trims had leather. No.
Yeah.
No, they didn't.
I don't know what it was, but it wasn't leather.
I don't know what it was. It felt like sitting on a plastic covered couch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, really?
Oh yeah, appalling.
Did it squeak and creak like that when you moved
Yes.
on it too? Wow.
It was genuinely terrible.
So either one way or the other, that's either part of what we consider luxurious, or it needs to be present, and it just so happens that it is in all the ones we've chosen.
Yes.
And then size. So
Clearly.
size, luxury comfort, / there in the middle.
All that.
Poshness. How about that? All around, just call it poshness.
But what do
that's
you
your
mean?
luxury and your ride and
Oh, gotcha.
everything.
Oh, I gotcha.
So that's number 2.
yeah. If I'm picking one adjective for both,
Poshness.
that's what
Yes,
I mean.
definitely.
Okay.
I will.
Can we come up with a third?
Well, I will definitely
Or do we
argue for
need to?
power. I will
Yes.
absolutely argue for power.
Yes, and I
Okay.
agree. Very much like the Rolls Royce, even though it's not a race car, it has the power reserve meter because that's part of even like when you compare it to its namesake, an actual yacht.
Mm-hmm.
If you go like this with the throttles on the yacht and it just doesn't move,
Well, see, the
You
thing
know,
is,
like-
I actually think that this might come from like a Cold War era thing where it used to be, a land yacht could kind of do whatever it wanted.
Yeah.
But now, if you can't escape the plebs in your land yacht, if you can't outrun the people who are coming
If
to tear
you-
you limb from limb,
if you don't have the extra power to add the 1.5 tons of armor into the doors,
exactly. What
What
are
are
you
you driving?
doing?
Yeah.
That's not luxurious.
it's not a land yacht, certainly.
Getting killed by a pitchfork is not luxurious.
No.
You have to be able to outrun the mob.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got to have power.
Yeah.
But torque, obviously, number one.
Yes.
Because that's the quiet, comfortable.
That's the-
That's
That's
running
quiet
over
power.
the pitchfork, guys.
Yes.
They're already in
But
front of
gently.
you. You just
ever so gently.
yeah.
But yeah, so you definitely need a dollop of that.
Yeah. I think performance as a whole is less important, I think, than just power.
Yeah, I'm not interested in the 3-cone drill.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Slalom time, I guess, is really what.
And I think it comes down to that sense of privilege, that sense of ease, where when you put your foot down, the car just goes.
Yes.
Even though it's huge.
You don't need to see it or hear to feel
How
it
big
working.
is the Phaeton?
It's not that big.
It's not that big. It
It's
can't be.
slightly larger than the Passat of the time.
Well, I thought that too, but then I saw one on the road the other day, and I swear it looked huge.
I think it's wider. A lot wider, because they crammed that W motor in there. Definitely wider. But no, I think... So,
203. Oh,
yeah, see... Not the thing.
Tiny.
Pathetic. You call that a car?
So,
What?
I mean, they call it a car. They just don't call it a land yacht. So we're talking about here.
Where have you been?
So we're defining things.
We like to define things on this show.
What were you
So
saying? Sorry.
we have size, poshness,
Yes.
power,
And power. Yes. Or rather, maybe it's might in this.
might.
in this
Yes,
category.
might makes right.
That's right.
Yes, I like that.
I really feel like that's it because
Yeah, that's the formula.
I don't, while a lot of these cars have a ton of technology in them, I don't think it's essential necessarily.
I feel like that kind of lumps into the poshness part of it, though. It's just the what you get.
Yeah, and if it's not there,
It's the stuff.
it doesn't matter as much as the other parts.
Well, they also
of it.
don't tend to have like the bleeding edge tech. They just have like the best of the reliable tech.
And some of these, especially like stuff like the Phantom, you're in the back on your laptop anyway.
Right.
So
I was picturing the Grand Tour episode with the sauna in
yes,
the
or the cooking station.
the cooking station
Yeah,
in the
yep.
backseat. Yeah. Yeah, but ideally you would be doing business.
Yes,
In the back.
businessy things.
But I always imagine people are just sleeping back there.
You know, other stuff.
It's kind of like getting an Uber. Just
Yeah.
take a nap.
if you're in that position,
nap in your Uber.
you can probably afford to take a nap
Exactly.
in the back of your Phantom.
I actually really like the G90, by the way. I kind of want one.
Too big for me.
It
but
would never fit in my garage.
I think they tried to apply that design to, like the same design as the G80, which is fantastic.
Yes.
And then it just to me, it didn't translate very well. It looks kind of stretched out and goofy.
It's like when you set your desktop to stretch to fill the screen.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
dimensions are not quite right.
Pixelates it.
Yeah.
A little
Yeah,
bit.
A little bit. I mean, that's my opinion, but
I feel like, I'll even go a step further. I feel like that's the definitive modern land yacht because I think it meets at an interesting point in terms of all the might and the poshness and the luxury, but also, unlike pretty much everything else on the list, you can actually buy it for regular people money.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not that expensive.
Not compared to the rest of the stuff. Even like a well put together Suburban is going to be more.
Oh, definitely
Yeah.
more.
Yeah, way
Yeah.
more.
Or if you go to Cadillac, it's just
Don't
it's
even.
all doomed.
Don't even talk to me about Cadillac.
Just see here, G90 price. I'm curious. I thought I remember it being. Oh, from 70.
Pshaw.
From 70,000.
I got that on me. I mean, what are you talking about here?
$70,000. Get him. Kill him. I really feel okay.
That's 2 weeks in a row you've threatened to murder somebody.
I didn't the last time he did.
Did I?
No, you.
Didn't you? No. I really do think that's
I just said get him. He said kill him.
that's true.
That is true.
I feel like the Phantom maybe does have to be out on its own somewhere because it's so much bigger than everything else.
And it's built by hand.
All of that. I mean, all the ridiculous stuff that Rolls does with every inch of the car, endless customization. I mean, it feels like if you didn't want something while it was being built, you could go up to the man building and be like, maybe a little something different.
Change that around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, use this thread.
I like this one better. Yeah.
But is there any car out right now that's more quintessentially land yacht than the G90?
Not if you're going to discount things like the Rolls Royce.
Only the Phantom, because I really do feel like that's kind of its own thing. Everything else seems like it wants to be that.
Bentleys?
There wasn't a single Bentley. Wait, the Mulsanne. The Mulsanne
was on
the
there.
Mulsanne
Yeah.
was. Maybe. Maybe just because the Continental is like the car.
That's the one you think of, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll have to think about that. What do you think, Nick?
When someone says land yacht to me, the first thing I think of is the Phantom, is the Rolls Royce. So just because it's top of mind, I would argue that it's there, knowing that I'm never going to be able to afford one. Probably never
No
going to be able
one
to
can.
afford to look at one.
I've looked at one. They're at the auto show.
Blind your peasant eyes.
Exactly. So
That's why.
my vote for like the quintessential one would be the Phantom. I mean, just because it has the size over pretty much anything else on the road that's not an 18-wheeler. And everything you talked about, like the best of the luxury.
Definitely.
And it's very quietly and under the radar is wildly powerful and mighty and torquey.
Definitely.
And yeah, the G90, agree with everything you said, but I think that discounts, giving that title the G90 kind of discounts the posh luxury aspect of it a little bit.
The outrageous luxury.
Yeah, the excess.
What about the Escalade?
That when we talk about
It's the SUV version.
whether
I don't
you
know.
like it or not, kind of the same like blinders we had to put on when we were talking about the iconic car episode.
Yeah.
Whether our personal opinion of it is high or not. I think it's certainly stepped into a notable spot in the culture.
But but
As-
far beyond that. When you look at, I mean,
Right.
the regular vehicle itself can be
Right.
exceedingly luxurious.
Right.
But now that's also the basis for your limos and your hearses and your just those two things.
Yep.
Ambulance. Wait, no.
And I don't know. I mean, that has to count for something, right? Or maybe not.
I think it does.
Or is that too common?
Did we miss something here? Does a Land Yacht have to be on a car frame?
No, we said no to that
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
when we
We
counted
have-
all those SUVs.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that we actually counted those. I thought we were just going over size. I didn't know that was actually to put them into the Land Yacht.
Oh, that was
Category.
my argument.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Anything over a size at least has to be considered. And then we didn't kick any out.
Got it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm pretty happy with our definition, honestly.
Yeah. So then what do we think really happened from those old cars in the 70s? Did they just turn into SUVs or have they just been there all along, lurking under the surface, waiting for times of economic disparity?
I don't think it's. Yeah, it might.
I mean, I don't necessarily think either of those are exclusive or incorrect.
No, I don't think they're exclusive.
I think it's still there and it's lurking because it's disguised as the SUV.
Indeed. And they're easier to get out of for all those people who had picnics and Brohams.
Oh, I thought you were going to say pitchforks to the side or something. I don't know.
No. Farmers, no.
No. People the farmers were coming after.
Oh, right. Yes, those people.
Once you've been injured by a pitchfork, you need to it's a little bit harder to get into your
That
car.
is extremely true. I mean, it's definitely not my taste in cars, and I will stand by absolutely saying the Land Yachts from the 70s were shit. Especially when we look at where they are now compared to like a performance baseline, yes, but also a true luxury baseline. Because I don't know if anyone caught on during the 70s, but velour is not luxurious. That is a garbage fabric.
No, I will go as far as to meet you at R, not were.
Oh,
I think they
the
were.
letter?
I think they were fine, but once you compare them to what is possible, they are now.
but even what was possible at the time was my whole point. Even what was possible at the same time.
I think the cost and the rarity and the production numbers and everything prohibited that.
I guess that's kind of a fair argument, especially because importing a Mercedes grosser to America,
Was a big deal if
Would've-
it could even be done.
I was going to say, was it even possible?
yeah. So
Maybe not.
I'll meet you at R now.
Fine. But the legacy lives on. Almost, you know what? If you look at all the cars that you can buy of this size and this luxury, it's basically untarnished. It's
Yes.
back and definitely better than ever. even if it's not fully back as a cultural icon. I mean, I've only seen like
And like I said, I would argue it's back, and no one knows.
I've only seen like
It's
2
wearing a
G90s
mask.
on the road ever. It's wearing the mask of the family car.
Yes, the mask of the SUV. Mm-hmm. So
Well, that is the family car now.
yeah,
as
right.
We all know.
Gah.
Totally.
Should we end with something wildly different than we've ever done before on the show?
Yes,
Now that we have a camera.
Yeah. How about this?
is that what that?
Hello.
Amateur hour. So, you each have bags by your feet, and they will not murder you.
Okay. Can I pick it up?
No.
Don't disturb
Is that just a comment on the fact that I can't reach it? Or
You can pick it up, but don't put your hand inside. No, pick it up. Open them up.
Andrew, your icy heart has been melting.
No.
this is not a gift we'll like.
Oh, is
Probably
You
not.
will not like this, and it will not be over quickly.
it? All right. So
Nick, you go first.
For those who are just listening, Andrew has got us presents. I've got a bag made of flowers and butterflies.
And mine's bank of flowers,
I
whatever that means.
assume it's a mutual bank.
Probably.
I don't know.
Looking inside, there is some tissue paper kind of strewn about. And there is, oh, look at that. Circuit Legends Hot Wheel S69 Copo Corvette.
Listen, the end of your time with Corvette is coming soon.
I think what we do is we got to preserve this because Hot Wheels, I mean, they're going to.
Definitely.
And we can put this on our decorations. Maybe
Yeah, for
if
sure.
it stands up.
We'll figure out a way.
We'll figure out a way.
But you need to remember the good times.
I do. I do. I'm going to be bumming hard in a couple months, guys.
I know. What's gonna happen?
I'm going to be in a funk.
I was gonna wait until the week of 7/8,
But he couldn't do it.
but I couldn't do it. And then I got Tristan something because I figured he'd pout if I didn't.
Probably.
Thank you, Andrew.
like a child.
Thank you very much.
I was actually looking for on the back there. You can see the GT40s on there. I couldn't find that one.
Yeah.
Sorry, the Ford GT race car, the IMSA one.
Yeah.
The EcoBoost one. Couldn't find that one. Anyways,
Oh, well.
open yours.
Amazon. You'll find it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's so fun though. Got to go to the store.
Tristan pulling out the tissue paper and also pull.
hey.
Oh!
Ooh.
Everybody gets things they can't have.
The 2017 Audi RS6 Avant
The one that everybody wants.
Oh yeah, what a sexy car.
with sporty fenders and striking air vents.
I wonder
4
what
liter
mine says.
V8 Tiptronic gearbox, permanent 4-wheel drive. Turn this hot wagon into an all-out road-hugging speed machine.
I got that one at the grocery store.
Hey, that's about where it belongs. It gets groceries.
It does.
That's why.
Oh yeah.
Look at that Hot Wheels car culture.
Just a little. How
about that?
Yeah, no, they have all these different collections and stuff. Ever since I found that Maserati in the garden, I've kind of fallen into a little. What's that?
This is a code that you can enter to show a digital collection.
What?
So you can like set up a username, type in the code, and you'll have like a virtual garage.
Oh my God.
Of all of your Hot Wheels.
Now this is a deep rabbit hole.
Yeah.
That you can very easily fall down with the Hot Wheels and the Matchbox cars. It's way different than it used to be.
Very cool. Thank you, Andrew.
Just a little something to
Yes.
to allow you to remember the good times and then also bring pain to your heart.
Yeah, that I'll never own one of these.
Exactly. And the Corvette will never be the same.
That's right.
On the other hand, it sucks. Take it back.
That's right. He's sitting here in the shadow of his own heartbreak, so it's fine.
I like that car.
I know.
Yeah, we know.
I like this car.
I know.
I like this.
You'll
I like
never
this
own
car.
one of those.
Probably. It doesn't bother me though.
I will never own one of these either.
You never know. One day it might be. Actually, did they sell those in America even? The RS6 wagons?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
That's what I got.
that's what I mean.
Excellent.
So happy birthday to
You.
me.
Yeah.
You.
To Andrew.
He bought us his birthday presents.
I did. Unfortunately, like Matchbox cars are still pretty cheap.
They are.
Not that one.
They are.
That one came from some special collection. It was like 4 times the price of that one.
Aha, I'm special.
Grocery store.
Grocery store. Yeah, impulse buy. It was literally in the checkout aisle. I was like, oh, damn, they make this?
That's actually a pretty good find for a grocery store checkout
I
aisle.
know.
Especially for me.
Crazy. Anyways,
Awesome. Thanks, man.
you're welcome.
And thanks to all of those who are tuning in and maybe watching now that we have cameras set up. We don't want you just to watch. We don't want you just to listen. We want you to reach out. We want you to talk to us. I mentioned briefly, teaser earlier, that we have socials. We're on Facebook. The page is Check Engine Podcast. We're also on Instagram, and the handle there is...
At Check Engine Pod.
Thank you. And we're also on Twitter, which if you're looking to looking for a pick-me-up after kind of a hard day, just follow our Twitter account because it's wildly entertaining. You can find it at...
Check Engine Pod.
There you go.
I was thinking about what you're saying about if you need a pick-me-up. I don't know. If you want entertainment, yes.
sad.
Yeah.
Well, see, entertainment to me is a pick-me-up. I'm sorry. So follow us on the socials. Interact with us there. If you're really into what we're doing here, we do have support pages. We have one right on anchor.fm. There's a support button on our page there. We also have one at patreon.com/Check Engine Podcast.
Supporters are growing. Get in early.
That's right.
Saying.
That's
Ground
right.
floor.
That's right. Don't be left out.
Don't be left out. I wonder if our friend Mr. Pepper donated yet.
Your buddy.
Nick's buddy.
And besides the Patreon, besides all that stuff, we also would really like reviews. If you want to take a couple minutes and write one, give us any amount of stars, hopefully a lot. But reviews really help when it comes to searching for podcasts and the big algorithms that go into all of that.
And it moves us up the charts. And
all of those things. Reviews are the lifeblood, really. So we'd really appreciate those. William, I don't know what you were looking for on this episode.
I hope we could disappoint you. No, I'm sorry we disappointed you.
Yes, I'm not hoping.
When you suggested that we do an episode on Land Yachts, William, we're sorry. But thanks for listening, and thanks for being one of the OGs getting in when you do.
Always in contact. And
Always in contact.
we always appreciate it.
Always.
But we appreciate all you guys. Even if we suck, you guys are awesome. And we cannot wait to talk to you again. So until next time, take care.
Bye.